Welcome, everyone. It is officially Thrive Thursday, and I would like to introduce everyone to our three amazing guests this week so that we can learn how they have adapted to our new world and are now thriving. From Maryland, we have Mia Collins, and she is the love counselor. From Alberta, Canada, we have Ruth Snyder. She is a book and creative coach. And from Rochester, New York, we have Bree Anthony. She is the founder of Mama Be Fit. So, ladies, number one, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I'm excited to dive in and hear your personal journeys of going through the adaptation of our new world normal after COVID and how you have adjusted and have now adapted and have become thriving. So, Mia, let's start with you. Can you tell us how have you changed within your personal, your business life, and how are you now taking that adaptation to actually be thriving in the world?
I had to sigh first
Deep
because
breath.
anybody who is an entrepreneur knows that this was not an easy process, right? So I've actually been trying to grow my business for about 6 years. Well, not trying, growing it. And I was already doing like virtual like sessions, providing coaching with people. But throughout the pandemic, it became like way more popular because a lot of people still were doing the traditional, I'd rather see you face to face. I'm telling you all my business, my life story type of thing. But now it's to the point where people would prefer to do it that way and didn't realize how easy it was and how much more accessible, support is virtually.
So, Mia, you actually saw having to adapt to doing virtual increased your opportunity to grow your business.
Absolutely. Especially
Wow.
since everything is like connected. So you got Zoom, you got Facebook, all these social media platforms. There are new apps I hadn't heard of that people are on, like Clubhouse. I never
Yep.
knew what that was
Uh,
um, until the pandemic.
So let's speak about that, okay? So here you are. I'm assuming, I'm assuming you were just like the rest of us. March comes, and all of a sudden this panic sets in of, okay, what's going to happen? How are we dealing with this? But then you start to see this shift. So tell me a little bit about your mindset, number one, of saying, hey, maybe I need to pay attention to what's going on here with this virtual. Maybe I need to pay attention to these other social media platforms and really putting myself out there. So tell us, like, what did you do as you started to make these changes?
Honestly, study. That's the best answer I can give you. It was really like I don't know, maybe like some type of metamorphosis, I can say, because you're talking about doing things fairly the same way or having the same pace of progress for 5 years. And then the pandemic happening and you having to like really change how you do everything. But then, of course, not thinking it's going to be better. You're like, nobody has any money, what am I going to do? But what I noticed was people just changed what they did as well. So as they're changing, I'm doing the same thing. And the one thing I learned throughout this process that I kind of think I already knew, but like I really, really know it now, is that we all have a gift.
Oh
And
wait, don't jump ahead. Don't
but
jump
it's
ahead.
I'm not trying to, but because I know where you're going with that. But that thing that we have is like inside of us and we already have it. Sometimes we're already using it and don't even know it. And so that I actually was able to change up what I was doing based on that knowledge. And so to help other people be able to see that in themselves is amazing.
So Mia, now I need to go backwards a little bit. What do you do? Because if you're the love counselor, I need to understand what that is.
So to answer your question and along with what I already answered, before I was really more so helping people mend relationships. So it didn't necessarily have to be a romantic, it could be any kind of relationship. family, friends. But now I'm more so focused on the individual's relationship with themselves.
Once again, adapting and once
Yes.
again, understanding the needs. And I will tell you, after all these weeks of doing Thrive Thursday, the one thing that has been consistent over and over again is people saying that it starts with ourselves and having to do our own inner work before we can actually be our best self. So I think you're kind of saying the same thing, right, Mia?
Absolutely. It's something that the pandemic literally taught me. I mean, even just aside from my business, just for myself, it taught me that. But then as I'm talking to people who are also, experiencing all these changes, it's like they actually didn't have the time to stop before and focus on themselves. So that's why I was helping people with their relationships, because when you're constantly interacting with people, that's what you think the problem is. But that was really just a symptom.
Ooh,
The
that is
problem,
deep. Let's say
yeah.
that again. Say that one more time because I want to
So
make sure people heard that.
So basically, all of the clients that I had before, they thought that they had trouble with their relationships, and they were coming to me for relationship advice and counseling and coaching and things like that. But once the pandemic hit and we were able to slow down and focus and have do more self care and things like that, they really realized that all the issues that they had was them,
Wow.
and so it just shifted the whole entire mission to, well, if we focus on what we can control, which is ourselves, then it will show up, it will manifest in our relationships.
And I think that's one of the things all of us had to come to grips with is that we weren't in control anymore. Things that we always tried to keep everything neat and tidy, all of a sudden, you've got little kids at home and doing virtual kindergarten. You've got working from home instead of going to an office. You have everything turned upside down. And we were all out of control. But
Yep.
the one thing we all can control is ourselves and how we
Yep.
think and how we react, right? So let me ask you one more question before we're going to slide over to Ruth. Okay, so Mia, what do you think will happen if all of a sudden